Okay, take two. I'm so smacked that I was just rapping for maybe like 6 minutes and I didn't realize that none of it was being recorded. So, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marissa, and as you can tell, I am already gone. Judging by the title of this video, let's just get right into it because I was on a roll. So, the top three things and hurdles to get over as an entrepreneur. These are lessons that I'm still learning, mind you. So these are my personal lessons. These are my personal opinions, how I feel top three hurdles. This is for me, and I haven't mastered them. This is what I'm learning. This is what I'm currently learning. Okay. So, top three. Number one, ego check. Being an entrepreneur, especially being a dedicated, full on, full time entrepreneur, like you are working for yourself, having my ego in check has been literally the biggest lesson that I've learned very early on. Like very early on. And I think it was when I got fired the first time back in 2023, to be honest. 2023 was actually like rough. You know, I lost my mother in the beginning of the year, then my cat, and then my job. That 2023 was humbling. It was humbling. And then this year I got fired like 9 months after that. So it's like 2025, please, like, just be nice to me. Just be nice. But I think a part of the ego check is like, I'm learning that things are not happening to me and to not take things personally because it could cause all these different feelings that, like, this simulation, this game, this matrix, it wants out of us. It wants a certain reaction. And if we can like catch it for what it is, then we can realize like we're in control of these emotions. Like there is no need to be full of anxiety or aggression or panic or fear or depression. Like it's all subjective, for real. And this is, again, is from what I'm learning. These are my personal opinions. Okay. But I would love to talk and hear about what you think down in the comments, please. But that ego check, I feel like that was the biggest lesson that I learned. Was like, okay, this industry doesn't want me. I'm glad I have my own business to fall back on. Like, I actually have stake in this industry. And so this is the first time I've ever been fired. And it was from two jobs that I did very, very well and made an amazing network out of it. Great connections that I still currently have. And it was like in in my own interest. Like I did have my own personal interest in it. And to be fired from two positions that I really enjoyed, it was very humbling. It definitely got my ego in check. It was a reality check. Reality check, Marissa. Like, don't be too nice. Unfortunately, what I learned is like, don't be too nice. We'll get into more story times later on of other things that I've reflected on and started to realize like, damn, like I think I'm a little too nice. Like maybe I just like forgive and forget really quickly, like, but there's just like a certain point for me where it's like I don't have the time to care about this no more. Like clearly you got something going on with you and you're taking it out on me, and I can either take it personally or I can realize this is just you in your own world, or this is this company in its own world, like in their own delusions, going through their own thing, and it's not personal. It's not personal is what I'm learning. Is like things happen for a reason and it makes for a really good story. That's why I like turn my notifications on for when I come out with those stories. I kind of want to like build up the stories and process it as it comes, but not in recent history, but like from the first time I got a job back when I was 19, I guess. Um, well, it's not a real job. I mean, it was a real job, but my first time that I was like, I actually went to an interview and I applied online. Like, it was my first official, like, here's your W 2. I did have a side job when I was in high school, but it was all just like family, like no interview process. It was through my friend from high school that we're still friends with. Shout out Caribbean Cove, Cherry Hill Road. Shout them out. That's family. So like that technically was like my first job. Um, but like my first W-2 had the whole like experience of finding a job, didn't know no one there, like I found it on the internet. I applied on the internet. I went into the interview. I did it all, and that was my first time. And reflecting on that and what happened to me there with this weird girl, like I'll get into it later story time, but like I was so nice to her. I was so nice to her, and even when she was doing some foul, crazy, like mental illness things, I was just still so nice. And honestly, I don't hate myself for that. I'm honestly like, as I say it, is like, you know what? That's good on me. Like, that's good on me. That's good on me. Like, people can do and say crazy things to you, and it's nothing personal. So, like, check your ego. That's my number one. Number two, patience. Number two is patience. Learning to have way more patience with yourself as an entrepreneur, as a part time entrepreneur, as a full time, whatever, like you got something of your own, have patience. Have patience for the market, have patience for your business, for your product, whether it is a service, a good, like have some patience. Starting is the hardest part. Starting is the hardest part. And then once you start, you keep going and it's just ongoing. It's forever. You're always going to update. There's always going to be revisions. There's always going to be new trendy things to the market. Like you have to keep up with the market, and marketing and researching and advertising, all of that, it's an every week, every month thing of just learning the latest thing, learning the latest app or sales pitch or ad platform or ad lingo. There is so much still developing, and these platforms, each platforms are like outbeating each other. So knowing what you're selling and to what platform, you have to stay updated. And so because things are moving so fast, realize excuse me, hold on. Realize that you have to have some patience for yourself. You have to have patience for the market, outside forces that you cannot control. Seasonality is a whole thing. People buy according to the season. So knowing where your season is, have patience with that. Your time will come when your time will come. That's what it is. It's like we can always kick ourselves and tell ourselves like, damn, we missed it. Like we really missed it. Like procrastination, ADHD, whatever you want to call it, excuses. But when you actually do it, you'll then realize that like that was supposed to be the time you were supposed to do it. So like you had to learn some things. You had to be patient with yourself. You had to go through some personal things and clear that energy out, remove those blockages so that way you could get into your entrepreneur, into your bag. So have some patience with yourself and keep going. Like entrepreneurship, you can pivot. There are for me, I have pivoted a lot with Sweeter. Sweeter is now a jewelry company. It always has been a jewelry company. It started off as just beautiful bracelets that my grandmother still makes, and she was the one that made all of them. She just would make so much, and I was in business classes, so I'm like, let's do this. Then I started getting into like the roach clips, the dab tools, the weed necklaces. Like I started getting into the mushroom designs and collection. Then I started getting the Hello Kitty, and it was like building and building and building. However, before all of this, before what you see right now on my website, before any of that, it was bracelets that my grandmother was making, but it was also herbal pre rolls and teas that you can smoke and you can drink besides marijuana. Like you can add it inside your weed, and there's other herbs that do like cool things for you. And I was really getting into that realm, and I found myself getting into the herbal world and also connecting in that conscious community, this new age conscious community that we are not. I'm out of there. Check out my previous videos, like 2 videos ago, about like these false leaders. Like, I'm just cutting away from the whole conscious community movement. Like, I'm good. I'm good. It's cute. It's cute. There's some things that like you can take from it, and there are some things that I have taken from it. There are some things that like are intertwined with whatever ancient stuff, but yeah, nah, we're out of there. That's it and that's all on there. So patience. But yeah, sweeter was herbal cigarettes and other herbs besides marijuana. It wasn't marijuana. We were not selling marijuana. It was herbal, like blends, pre-rolls, and tea bags. But honestly, that was so painstaking. Like making those pre-rolls, that was such a tedious job. I'm gonna be honest, it was so tedious. Like my hands would cramp up after probably 4 batches, and 4 batches only made like 6 pre-rolls at a time. Like it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. And then I started overcharging. I'm like, no, I shouldn't be overcharging it. Like this needs to be at a good price point. So pivot, and that's where we pivoted into roach clips. And I'm like, you know what? I enjoy making these. These are faster and it's more fun and creative. Whereas like packing pre-rolls is kind of just like, now it's a job, like, and it's not a fun job. Whereas making roach clips, that is a fun hobby that I'm making money off of. So we love that. We love that. So patience with yourself. Continue on with your entrepreneurship. It will pivot. If it doesn't pivot, then what are you doing? Type shit. Okay, my third one, creativity. Mm-hmm. Creativity. Now we can get into the actual creative side, and then we can get into like the analytical side of creativity. We're going to get into both, but number 3 hurdle, like the number third hurdle to get over as an entrepreneur, full-time, part-time, or you haven't even started but you want to, creativity. That you also are going to need some patience, a little bit of number 2, patience with your creativity, because as an entrepreneur, you're most likely doing a bunch of different jobs, all like solo style. You're doing the paperwork, you're doing the LLC, the establishment, you're doing the banking, you're doing the emails, the reach out, the web design, you're doing all the analytical things. So when it comes time to making the jewelry, making the roach clips, making the pies, the cakes, the lotions, the bracelets, whatever your business is, making candles, making crochet goods, like making cups, making things, like creating things with your hands, like, and not only that, but like if you're a web designer, if you are a digital marketer, if you are, I don't even know, like it doesn't even have to be material goods, it could be services as well. And that is also creativity. You're creating things from scratch. All of it is an amazing thing. So number 1, be happy and be grateful that you are able to have that access to that part of your brain. The creativity side of your brain is like completely separate from the analytical side. And so when you're doing all that back end stuff, you are all in your analytical brain. And unless you like actually meditate and really sit with yourself and turn that switch of like, okay, I'm going to consciously move out of my analytical brain and move into my creativity brain, and practice some exercises, whether that's journaling, dancing, singing, some creative action to get in those creative juices. Like, it's two different sides of the brain. So recognize that. Recognize that if the creativity is not coming to you, meditate on it, think on it, call it out. Like, literally look at yourself in the mirror, talk to yourself, talk to a friend, and like put those words out there to tell yourself what you're doing is you are talking to your subconscious of like, okay, it's time to turn on our creativity side. Like, let's do it. Let's get into it. And let's turn off our analytical side. Like, we're done with the emails, we're done with the setups, we're done with all that back end stuff. I'm done with that. So knowing that creativity, like, it also comes from a source, a higher source, whether that is God for you, whether that is universe, whatever you may call it, higher source. As long as you believe that that source is infinite and abundant and that you come from that source, then know that you will never run out of ideas. Like, you will always keep coming up with a better idea, a better strategy. It's time to pivot. It's time to change our website. It's time to change our whole product design. It's time to change our themes, our brand color. It's time to do a rebrand. Like, just know that that is because source is infinite and will continue to be infinite for you, so long as you believe that you are connected to that source. So just know that. And all that right there, those three things right there, you'll be okay. Like, I promise. I promise you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. These are things that I tell myself. These are three things that, like I said, I have not mastered, but I am learning that it is the three biggest things that I have learned in the last 6 months, from being fired, from going through this whole lawsuit, like from going through all these little trips to the hospital between me and my cat, like from going through everything, like those three things has literally kept me where I am right now, which is actually at a very peaceful and sleepy state. Pretty tired, actually. But it's recognizing it and being aware. I'm just beyond grateful. Like, I number one thing that I'm grateful for in the morning is my awareness that we're here again. Like, I'm grateful that I'm aware again. I'm aware of things, like whether they're tangible or whether they're conceptual. Like, I'm aware of it. Thank God. But if you resonated with this, let me know. I'm headed to bed on that note, and I hope you have a really good night.